It's time for Andy's cooking show.
Hello and welcome to the second episode of Andy's cooking show. So it's been a while since the last one because I have had a tough weeks. We're starting new projects in the lab. I have to babysit a new postdoc, talk to many people. So a lot of work and staying up until very late night. But now is a perfect occasion. I was enthralled by your live stream a few minutes ago, and I have this weekend, so I have free time, and some friends and me are going to watch together Parasite. So it's a perfect time to, as I have watched you, I would let you watch me and show you my terrible cooking skills. So today we are going to make a different dish. It's slightly more elaborate. It's called Spanish omelette or Tortilla española in Spanish, and it's one of the typical dishes you should eat in Spain. So if you go to Barcelona or Madrid or anywhere in Spain, you usually should try paella, which is a rice-based dish with seafood, and tortilla, among other things. But those are like the main two landmarks in the Spanish gastronomy landscape. So we are going to get started with Spanish tortilla, and I hope you like it. So let's do it. The ingredients for Spanish tortilla or Spanish omelette are really easy to get. Strictly speaking, you just need potatoes, just a few of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 should be enough, and a few eggs, around 6 should be okay too. However, most people also like to add onion, and I love onion. I don't know if you like it, but I always include onion. And because this is the US and people like to add even more flavor, I'm going to do something that others would consider heresy, but I like adding some carrots, which I have here, and also some sweet peas. These you won't find it in Spain or anywhere, but I just like adding that extra touch. And of course, if you want to make things even more complicated, you can add some meat, some bacon if you are up to that, or some chicken, but that's clearly not a real tortilla. The first step for making a Spanish tortilla, is to peel everything, peel the potatoes, peel the onion. So while I'm doing that with my super cool peeler, which you also saw in my first episode, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what to expect from this dish. So there are 3 types of what we call tortilla in Spain. The first one you may be familiar with is what you may have tried that when you were in the US, in California, is Mexican tortilla. That's tortilla chips. It resembles regular potato chips. This is not like that. Then we have something called French omelette, which in Spain we call French tortilla. That's just made with eggs, and it's quite different from this. And of course then we have the Spanish tortilla, the best one, of course. And the Spanish tortilla, or Spanish omelette, is like resembles a cake, but instead of using flour and all that, you just use egg and potatoes as the main component of the cake, so to speak. And then with the onion and whatever else you add extra flavor, so that in the end the mixture is a little bit sweet but mostly salty. And we use this as the first dish for meals, or in most cases appetizers. And because it's something relatively straightforward that fills you up quite nicely and is very hard to mess up, is something that I particularly like using in social events. So your friends are coming, you don't know what to do, you go to the fridge, you are going to have in most cases eggs, and you should have potatoes in your house normally. So you just need that to get a dish that everybody is satisfied with. So let me peel off the remaining of the potatoes, and then we will continue telling you how to chop everything for the right size, because that's quite important when making a Spanish tortilla. Making a Spanish tortilla is a bit like making a house. You need bricks for that. Those bricks are the pieces of potato, and you need concrete, which is going to be the egg. And therefore, egg is easy, but it's critical to have the right size of the bricks, because too small or too big and the house will fall apart, right? You need the right consistency. So that's the most tedious, boring, but also important part of making a tortilla. So for that, what you need to do is that you use a knife that cuts properly. That helps a lot. And then you're going to cut the potatoes in slices like this. And after that, you will keep cutting until you get something that resembles a square and which is not very big. So when we cook this, it's gonna be soft anyways, but you don't want huge pieces because those make eating the tortilla less pleasant. So it's important to reach the perfect size for a tortilla, and that size is something like this. Do you see? It's kind of like a half a fingernail, and we have to do that for all the potatoes. So it's going to take a little bit of time. And you know, if you ever have a cooking date, you meet with a person and cook together, this is a nice dish for that, because you know, you spend some time cutting potatoes together, you can engage in interesting conversation, and in the end, you know, bond over potato and eggs. But this is just a video, so there is no way we can have that. So let me keep cutting all these potatoes, and when I am done, I will be back to you. Sufficient way to cut the potato is to first you make it like this in lamina, and then you cut it transversally like this until you get all these sticks, which you can use with several potatoes at once. And then you just, let's see, I need a cameraman for this. You just grab this with your left hand and then start chopping, clack, 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 and you get all the squares or the slices. Good. This was the last potato, so let's move it with the rest here. So pretty much we fill all these with pieces of potato, and now next we are going to continue with the onion. So if this was just for me, I would probably chop a full onion, but I am a bit of a food onion addict, so instead we will just do half an onion. So as you can see here, lots of chopping was done, and now we shall do the same with the onions. While I'm chopping the onion, this is a perfect occasion to talk about cooking and science. So some people claim that cooking and science are related, and if you are good at one, if you're good at science, you are also probably good at cooking, and vice versa if you are a scientist that cooks. And I don't know if that's true. I mean, that's a very severe, bold statement. However, I will recognize that there are lots of similarities between cooking and doing science. And one of them, the first one that I realized when I came to the US, is the importance of having good reagents and good tools and utensils. So in the case of cooking, that's very obvious. When I was in Spain, my mom, who taught me a little bit of how to cook, had very old utensils like knives, etc. And when I came to the US, I had to buy new stuff. And that's when I had the opportunity to compare the efficiency of having the right tools or not having them. And a typical example of that is cutting. So of course this knife is going to cut much more efficiently and chop stuff much faster than this one in most situations. And that's something that until you don't buy both and compare, you cannot truly appreciate. Or for instance, my mom used to peel everything with a knife, and I really like peeling with the peeler because it's much faster. So since I came to the US, I've been sharing these tips with my parents, and now they have adopted some of the tricks and utensils I use here, which I think is quite nice. Another important thing about cooking is the flexibility. It's very similar to science, right? That's something I really like. So you have your protocols or your recipes in the case of cooking, you follow them, and if you follow the things properly, have to be careful. Whoops, that's the problem with a knife that cuts so much that you can cut yourself if you are distracted talking to a camera. Anyways, should be fine. Yes. I don't have coronavirus, so it's okay. Oh. Give me a second. I survived. Have to be careful. So, as I was saying, one of the things I like, I will pay more attention now, because you don't want to deal with a fingerless person, right? So one of the things I like about science and cooking is the flexibility. You have a recipe, you follow it, and you get the expected result if you are careful and don't cut yourself or mess up. And the same happens in science if you know what you are doing. But there is flexibility, right? When you cook something, you don't cook exactly the same thing twice. There is viability, and you don't do the same experiment twice with exactly the same results, at least in biological sciences. And that flexibility is what tells apart something meaningful from something that is not. So if you have an experiment that is, you need a very specific set of conditions for it to happen, or you have a cooking recipe where you need to do something extremely precise, then maybe that's not the best way to cook that or to do that experiment, and you need to find other ways. So I like how robust cooking and biological systems can be, and also how that flexibility and ability to improvise also promotes your ingenuity sometimes. So I'm almost done with cutting these onions. You don't want to oversaturate the Spanish tortilla with too many. So we need to reach a middle ground between my preferences and other people's, because as I said, this is not just for me. I'm bringing this to my friends when now it's 2 p.m. but I should have more than enough time to finish cooking this and bring it to the Parasite movie watching party / hangout, however you want to say it. So what I'm going to do in that party is that I got the movie Parasite, which we talked about before, with English subtitles, and people are going to bring beverages or popcorn, whatever. I will try to bring this tortilla, and we have a huge projector in the university in our floor, which we normally use to present scientific data, but people here is very relaxed, so we can repurpose that and bring some speakers so that we can watch movies or TV shows. Like we watched Game of Thrones there last year. I don't know if you watched that TV show. I used to read the books. So yeah, we try to bind to each to relate to each other, interact, because we are kind of like a small family. No, not small, a medium-sized family. We spend most of the time together, and it's important to cherish and nourish and water those relationships, because you don't know when you may need other people's help, and you need to be also eager and open to helping others, because that's how science works. I mean, you can cook something for yourself, but you cannot really make a huge scientific project just by yourself, because science is too complicated sometimes. Okay, so these are the chopped onions. Maybe I should chop a bit more. We shall see. The good thing is that even if the pieces here might be a bit too big, once you start cooking them, you remove the water, right? You warm it up and they become more dehydrated. So at the end they will be smaller than they actually look like now. So that should be fine. And if they don't like it, well, they always have the option not to eat it. So that means more tortilla for me. Okay, this is done. I also chopped I don't know so many words in English for cooking. Carrots. I chopped the carrots a little bit too, so they are like this. And now everything is chopped, so we are ready to start cooking it. This is our pan today. The size of the pan depends on the size of the Spanish omelette or tortilla you want to do, but after some optimization, I know that the best size for this amount of ingredients is this pan, so we should be fine. I'm warming it up here, and the next step is to add some oil, because we are going to do we call this in Spain sofrito or sofregit, which means pretty much that we are going to just cook yeah, it's a bit of oil, but yeah, that's how it works. And we are going to cook the potato and the onions, and after that we will add the remaining ingredients, and in the end the eggs to make the mess. So I'm gonna let this warm up, and then once it starts being warm, I will add the ingredients. Good. It's a bit warmer now. You don't want it to be very, very hot, because we are not trying to fry this. Just make it brownish. So we are going to add the ingredients. Of course, I'm using just one hand, so this makes things a bit more difficult. And of course, this will take a while. Let me see. We have even more potato. Looks like a lot, but as you start dehydrating the stuff, you will see it shrinks quite a bit. Okay, so let's wait for a little bit and we will be back. While the potatoes and the onions are going on here, and we call this in Spain do chup chup. While that's going on, we are going to prepare the eggs. So this is very empirical, but I have the impression that with around 6 eggs we should have enough eggs for the whole cake. So of course we just rig them here. Okay, good. And we need 6 of these. So let's just do that. And after this, we will just beat them, add some salt. I like adding some pepper as well, but that's optional. And we will wait until, we will wait until the potatoes and the onions are ready. So beating eggs and breaking eggs reminds me a little bit of, dissecting mice. Cooking is a bit like that, in the sense that sometimes you just need to do it. Like you have a mouse, you need to dissect it. You are scared, the mouse is moving, what do you do? You just do it. You just, have your will, you just have the intention and keep going. Don't be scared, keep going. The same happens with, breaking an egg. You just need to go all the way. Or like frying stuff. If you are afraid of the oil, you're gonna mess up, right? So you need to be decisive. You need to be certain what you are doing and confident. But of course, those are things that you only get once you repeat things over and over. So it takes time to be confident cooking or in anything in life, as you know very well. I'm sure that when you were starting, you were also sometimes hesitant, and that of course is not good. Okay, that's good. So we are going to remove this. We don't want to do that. Almost perfect. There was a tiny piece of the shell here that you of course don't want. And now we are going to beat them. So let's do it. You can see I have many more utensils here, which you cannot see because I don't have a cameraman. And we need to keep looking at the potatoes here. Let me show you. So the first time, if you ever decide to make a Spanish tortilla, one of the most difficult things of any recipe, by the way, is to know when to stop, when to keep going, how much to add, because some indications are easy, right? Like you just add this many eggs, but others are like subjective in the sense of keep cooking until it's brown or until it's whatever. And this needs also some salt. And that's something you get from experience. So I remember, for instance, that I was doing my first Spanish tortilla in Spain, and I didn't know many of these things. And you with me talking about this. So it was like I needed to cook that for some social event. So it was maybe 4 a.m. in the night in Spain, and I was Skyping with my mom so she could give me some indications about some of these small details that are never written. So it takes some skill and some talking and bothering other people, but in the end, of course, it pays off. So the key for to know for how long to cook the tortilla is pretty much just you try a little bit, and when it's soft and tasty, that's when you can start adding the eggs. But in the meantime, what we are going to do is that we are going to beat the eggs first, so that we can, this will be the concrete that will be used to make the cake. So of course, beating is easy peasy, and we are not in a rush, so you know how to beat. So I don't want to, again, it will be a bit stupid to tell you. So yeah, let's keep doing this, and once the potatoes are ready, we will add the carrots and the sweet peas and then the eggs. And that's a critical moment where a tortilla can be born or die before being born. So wish me luck. We are getting there, starting to look a little bit more brownish than it used to, as you can maybe be able to see. And of course, from time to time, you need to, move it and put things upside down so that everything is cooked equally and you don't burn the bottom and undercook the top. But this still needs a little bit more, so let's close it. We have the eggs here, which we have beaten, and the remaining ingredients here. So let's wait. This is starting to look better, so we are going to give it a try. So still a bit hard and needs a little bit more of salt, but we are going to add the carrot and the sweet peas so they start cooking as well, and by the time everything is ready, the potato and the onion should also be ready. We are ready. This is the consistency you want for your tortilla, so pretty much if you zoom in, you can see that they're starting to form clumps. So if you push a little bit, everything moves. I put a bit more oil because I'm going to add the eggs now. This is an important moment, so you want, of course, all the eggs to go through everything. So first you add them like this, and now you have to move tortilla so that it's a bit too early, but the eggs will start sinking and then cover the whole tortilla. And you want it to go deeper into the cake, so it's surrounding everything. I added a few more eggs because I was not very sure if I needed more, so we will see if it works or not. Okay, so we are getting very close to the moment of truth where the fate of this tortilla will be decided. Good. This is the moment of truth. We need to flip the tortilla, so we need to be decisive. I'm left-handed, so I'm gonna do it with this. So let's hope I don't get burned. Should be fine. So 1, 2, and 3. Good. Shit. Good. So I was a bit scared because it's a bit too brownish here. So ideally shouldn't be, so it should be more orange and yellowish, but I think still edible. I mean, it tastes decently, so we didn't totally mess up. So you are the witness of my first fail in tortilla fail. I'm ashamed to my fellow citizens of Spain. So we are going to see if it's decent enough. I think it should be almost done now. Ay, ay, ay. Next time will be better, don't worry. Okay. I think it should be cooked also from the other side. So we are going to flip it again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Good, not so bad. Looks good. You see, from the other side, let me show you. I am quite happy. This is how a tortilla should look like. See? Consistency is not the best one, so I want to microwave it a little bit, but should be okay. Okay, let's keep going. So the main issue with the tortilla we had is that I think I added a little bit too much egg, and that's why it took longer than expected for it to get cooked and solidify. And in that meantime, the potato, the bottom of the pan was too hot for the potato. But that's okay, it tastes good, it didn't burn, it was almost there, but didn't burn. What I have done is that I have microwaved the tortilla a little bit so that it's totally cooked inside, because you don't want raw egg, of course. And I think that the end result is quite nice. You can see here my tortilla, not the best one, but not the worst tortilla you can get. So in a few hours now, what time is it? It's almost 3, so in a couple hours we'll have our movie session and we will have some Spanish tortilla. And who knows, maybe next time I make this, you can help me cut the potato. That's it for today's episode. We made a nice and tasty Spanish tortilla. We got some troubles. I got injured. The bottom of the tortilla is not the best one, but was an interesting ride which we shared together, which is the most important thing of these videos. And well, this is the end of the episode. I'm not sure what we could cook for the next one, so I'm open for suggestions. If it's something I don't know how to cook, I will be happy to learn the recipe and give it a try. Maybe a disaster, but I hope it will be a fun one, worst case. And see you in the next episode.
It's time for Andy's cooking show.